Sean Trey Show. I've got a really interesting guest with me today. Now, would you like to introduce yourself and tell people who you are and what you do?
I am Davide Lo Surdo. I am from Italy. I am a 22 years old guy. I am a guitarist since the age of 9 years old, and I have a passion for music and guitar, and I'm lucky today to be able to say that the music is my work, my job. So it's very cool. It's very cool.
That's awesome, man. And by the way, I love the AC/DC shirt.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
It is. Yeah, AC/DC, Guns N' Roses. Yeah, that's very cool.
Right? Yeah. Who are, let's start with that. Who are some of your inspirations in music? What are some of the bands that really inspire you?
Let's say in the past I have had guitar players that inspired me. I don't know, for example, as Michelangelo Badio or Jeff Loomis from Arch Enemy, this kind of guitar players. And recently I have changed it. I mean, I'm not into more guitar players. Okay. They are still my idols. You know, I am lucky to have play with them too. But let's say that now I am more into bands. Something like my favorite band actually is Guns N' Roses. You know, maybe it sounds weird for the kind of
Guns N' Roses is awesome
for the kind of music I play. But you know, Guns N' Roses is definitely one of the bands that I listen more right now. So that's very cool.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, that's an interesting thing you said right there. Like, maybe it sounds weird for the type of music you play, but the reality is like, I think some of the greatest musicians have had very eclectic taste, you know, and maybe this is their genre, but then they would listen to all of these different types of music because inspiration can come from anywhere.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to come from...
I totally agree with this. I totally agree. I mean, I also changed my set list in Brazil to play some Guns N' Roses songs. So, you know, it's cool, it's taking part. It's taking part of my, let's say, of my evolution. Let's say like this.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things too. Like, I've been doing some music with my wife, and I've been writing some songs for her and I. My wife is this famous singer here in Vietnam.
Okay.
And so it's cool that like we get to play around together, and she kind of has a style. But like when people are like, what are you writing? And I was like, well, you know, some of it's country, some of it's folk, some of it's jazz, some of it's R&B. And they're like, well, why don't you pick a style? And I was like, but why? Why do we have to kind of always put ourselves into a box? And granted, people are good at certain things, but I'm like, for me, if you love music, you don't have to limit yourself to just one style. You know what I mean?
I totally agree because, for example, like I've told you, I play metal. I play, let's say, kind of technical music. But like I've told you, I like Guns N' Roses, but I don't listen only to rock and metal. I also like to listen some kind of Coldplay, for example. I like Coldplay music. Nice. Yeah. I like
Coldplay's awesome.
Yeah, some dance music, you know, some kind of melodic stuff. I mean, this is also what I like to hear. I don't know, when you're in the street or going somewhere, or you're in a plane going to some country or stuff. I like to listen music, you know, and somehow make me feel comfortable, you know. So Coldplay is also another band that I listen to.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. It's really cool that like. That, you know, and one of the cool things that, like, I grew up, I am definitely older than you. I'm 42, so I'm like 20 years older.
Yeah, 20 years old. Yeah, more than
20 years older than you. And so when I was growing up, you know, your music was limited by, first of all, the cassettes that you owned or the CDs.
Yeah.
It was like you were limited by the physical things you could buy. And I remember... I had, and you know, at my high school, everyone had their different CDs, and and it was like funny because, you know, you'd go to a certain person's room to listen to that CD.
Yeah.
You know, we all lived. So I was like, oh yeah, I had Smashing Pumpkins, and so you know that was one of my favorite CDs, and everyone would come over and we'd listen to Smashing Pumpkins, and it was really cool because that was the special thing for me.
Yeah.
But now, like you have access to so many different types of music on Spotify and on Apple Music. It's crazy, man.
Actually, I don't use a lot of Spotify. I know it sounds crazy because all the words that they use this, but I don't know. I am kind of a person that I don't know. I like more YouTube, but you know, watching videos because You
And
know,
I'm a videographer. Like I'm a video person
yeah, me
first
too.
and foremost. So I love that. Yeah.
No, I think YouTube is where I listen more music, and of course, the YouTube thing is that you cannot use it. You have to stay on YouTube because
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
go from the application, the music goes away. So also,
You turn it off, it's gone.
yeah. So, but also Spotify is something that I really want to start using too from now.
Yeah. Well, it's a good one to kind
Yeah.
of get into. Well, let's start. I want to hear how did you get started in music? How did you start off playing guitar or just getting into music in general?
It's kind of a strange thing, kind of, because I was 9 years
I like
old.
strange.
I was 9 years old, and I was, I have a neighbor. She's a girl. I have a neighbor close to my house, and I was playing with her in the times, visiting her, play, some kids games and stuff. And then one day I saw her and her dad playing guitar. They were actually playing something like some E chords, some easy things. And
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I was fascinated by this. I was in love watching these two people, this scene, they playing guitar. And I said, you know what? I want to play guitar too. So I started going to some church, to some priest, giving free lessons and stuff. And then, after 1 month, this priest said to my mother, said, you know what? This guy is really talented. Let him study privately. So I started with private teachers. I started with, more serious people to be more focused on guitar. And then after years, I started, playing with Steve Vai, with Michelangelo. This fastest guitar thing came up. And, it's a lot of stuff, but I started at 9 years old playing, randomly
That's
playing
awesome.
with my neighbor.
That's really awesome, man. It's interesting. Like it's a wild story that you started. Your first guitar lessons were from a priest.
Yeah.
That's just wild in and of itself.
Yeah,
Right?
I've told you it was kind of strange, but it's I was fast playing already at that time because I remember
Really?
after 1 month of lessons, I was able to change chords very fast. So it was that's why the priest said to my family, says this guy has to study privately because can be a talent of this instrument. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So it was
really awesome.
It was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool, and especially cool because thank goodness for that priest seeing talent, because there's so many people that have it, but no one identifies it.
Yeah.
Kids that are. My daughter, during this COVID time, we've been homeschooling her because the schools were all shut down, and there were no schools open. So it was up to my wife and I to kind of figure out what to do.
Yeah.
And she's 5 years old, and we were like 4 to
Oh,
5
she's
years old.
young.
And we're like,
She's a
yeah,
little
she's
girl.
young, so it's not like we were doing like algebra and stuff like that. It was like, like drawing and coloring, learning ABCs and things like that. And she's been doing great. But the thing that we were clicking on, the thing that I was realizing was like, we were starting to pay attention to what she good at.
Yeah.
And I mean, for 4-year-old kids, that's 4-5-year-old stuff, like coloring ABCs. But,
I think
really quickly,
everybody
we were
has
starting
a
to
talent,
see.
actually. Everybody.
Exactly.
Everybody. I mean, I know a lot of people that, they try something. I don't know, for example, they try guitar and they are not good at it, Also, if you practice, and people get disappointed. But what people don't understand is that everybody is incredible in something. You just have to discover what.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I love guitar. I love it. But I am not talented at guitar. Like I'll be the first person. I try hard, and I'm the type of person who I get better because I try hard, not because I'm good.
You always have to work hard for stuff.
But there is other stuff that I am naturally good at, and it's just like this.
That's what I'm talking about.
And so you got to find out what are those things you're good at, and not that you can't do other stuff. If you want to, go for it. But I think that we should, my daughter, she's really good at drawing, 5-year-old, but her mother.
You mean Ron?
Or her drawing.
Oh, right, all right, yeah.
Drawing, and she'll color stuff, and it's much above her level. And what we notice is my wife and I talk about that. This is something actively try to help her but maybe she won't become an artist, but you know what? That's a talent that if we can pay attention to that.
Of course.
It
Definitely.
could be something that later on in life becomes a bigger thing, and I think that's always important.
Yeah, of
Always
course.
important.
And you have to always to support your kids. You always have to support. And so it's very important to also to help them to find a way. For example, I'm not a father, I am still a son. So, but what I see, because I always have had relationships with, friends or girls and stuff like this with older people than me. So what I have seen is important to encourage the kids, and to help them to find their way, their street, and what they are really good at. So you are definitely a good dad, actually. I'm sure about this.
I hope so. I'm trying.
We shall listen to her opinion, actually.
Someday maybe she'll watch these. I hope so. But for right now, I just try to do my best, right? Now coming back to you, man, so I want to talk a little bit about you learned guitar, you started playing with some of your heroes. When was it that you said, hey, I want to be a musician? When did you first start thinking about that? When was that something that was like a reality for you?
This is a question that it's kind of a difficult question because I never thought about it. I think I started, I wanted to be a musician, I think, 15 years old, something like 6 years ago. Because, for example, before I was, playing always, I think 14 or 15, something like this around. I started to play, some shows in my city, some small festivals, like this. And I saw the people that they were really impressed and, they were really into this. So I said, you know what, maybe this is my thing. So maybe I should pay more attention to this and keep doing stuff and see how it goes. And always playing. I always saw more interest from the people in what I was doing. So I said, you know what? I like what I do. I feel great playing. So I said, people like it. So I said, maybe I have to be a musician or at least try to be. So I think around 14 or 15 years old. Now I'm 22, awesome. So...
Yeah. Not that long ago for you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm talking like it was a lifetime ago, but it's not.
No, but it's still awesome because it's like, and I love it when I hear stories about people who early in life, because I would still say that's pretty early, that people just knew, like, this is something I love and this is something I want to do. Now, when did you start getting into playing fast? Because you are ridiculously fast.
Thanks.
Are you the Guinness World Record holder for fastest guitar?
Yeah, actually, today, right now, I recorded actually some years ago. I think I was actually going to Mexico, the first tour in Mexico I've done, and actually, people started to present me as the fastest guitarist of all time.
Really?
Yeah. So people started presenting me like this. But there still was not a kind of record, only the people see something like, dude, I never seen somebody play this fast. You should see how much you do, because the past record was actually 23, something like this, 23 notes per second. So I got really, I said, okay, let's do it. And I got a friend of mine who actually took a degree with this program that, he doesn't count only music. He count everything, everything that has a beat, he can count. So what happened was they put a camera on the neck of my guitar for record the video. That after they did the slow motion on it, and then they collected the guitar on the jack, for take the audio directly to the interface. And I've done 3 takes. The first one was 99 notes per second. The second was 103 notes per second. And as in Italy, we have a saying that there is no 2 without 3. So I said, let's do another one. Let the last one take. And in that one, I almost died because I've done 129 notes per second. So this actually beated all the rest of the record, the past record. So what happened then, people like Alice Cooper, Jordan Rudess by Dream Theater started to say I was the fastest guitarist in the world. And then actually Guitar World came out, and recently also Rolling Stone magazine actually wrote about the fastest guitars of all time. So that's very cool. I mean, it's a huge satisfaction. Really awesome. Yeah.
I would think so, man. I would think so. To have Rolling Stone write about you is a big deal.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's an honor, It's an honor, and then it was an honor also to play in their 15th anniversary, because they actually did the 15th anniversary of the Rolling Stone magazine in Brazil, and I went to play there. They did a big show in the arena. Let me remember, something like Samodromo Danem, something like this. The name of this arena was, and it was packed house, because actually with COVID thing, but there was 15,000 people at the show were there. So it was actually cool. Always I was presented as the fastest guitarist of all time. So there was a huge, something like living the dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was living the dream.
That's awesome. Well, see, that's what I wanted to ask you, because what I tend to think of is like, and that's one of the things that I was noticing, right? People are always, when I do interviews, so many people are looking back. You're young, man. You already accomplished some really awesome things, but you're young. Like, where do you want to go from here? Where do you want to take this thing, man? What would you love to be doing?
My goal is, to I think be in a band, because, for example, what I'm actually doing right now is I received several proposals to join bands, as a professional guitarist, actually. But, the thing is, I didn't feel comfortable with this so far, so far I didn't feel this much comfortable. But what I'm actually doing is I am creating a name, so now that, I did with Rolling Stone, the Guitar World thing. So I'm actually having some references, so in creating a name, creating a career by myself. So, and I hope that this will help me to join some band. Of course, having credentials, this can give you a easier way to join already an advanced band, a band that already have a following, already have this, so we can also join the forces and, do something. So
you bring up a really, really, really good point. And the point is this, like, I was talking to my friend was looking for a new job. And
for my job?
We were talking, a new job.
A new job, okay.
Was looking for a new job. And my friend kept running into challenges, right? Because the person he would look for a job search. And he's like, okay, I'm going to search for this job. And this job has a pay here. And then another job, this job pay here. This job's a pay here. And I was like, well, one of the problems is people are hiring not you, they're hiring that job. You know what I mean? But if you have a name, if you have a brand, because you've taken the time to build up your reputation, they're hiring you. And so like what you're doing is brilliant to me, because you're building your brand, and so that when you go to the band, they're not getting a guitarist, they're getting you. And that's more important than just, and that's so important. And people don't always realize that every podcast I do, every single one builds my brand.
Exactly.
And and like people get to see who I am, and then I get to do it and bring cool people on and talk to them, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But if I don't do it, and I just will say, well, I've got 3 podcasts done, someone should hire me as their podcast person. People, no, man.
Yeah, I mean, you always have to work hard. For example, another thing that actually is helping me, but for the COVID restriction, also, I mean, we still didn't start. But some months ago, I took the endorsement of Boss Pedals. I think it's history of pedals. But actually, with this COVID restriction, COVID troubles, they have still not been able to to ship the products. But we are going to start right now to to work on promotional material for Boss. So it started what I mean is to create a name also with brands. You know, so when we have Boss,
Yes.
we have Victory Amps.
Exactly.
I have Rolling Stone. I have Guitar World. You know, I have reference cables. I have also. I mean, I am
Exactly.
endorsed by a lot of company. So, and this help you. You know, this help you to do more stuff.
Super.
For example, now I'm just back from Brazil, and you know, I am planning a Bolivia tour, Bangladesh tour
Yep.
for next year. You
That's
know,
awesome.
yeah, it's a lot of stuff. So, but uh, I always how can I say, work it hard and fight against my fears for do this.
Yeah. Yep. Well, there was a great quote on success that I read yesterday, and it was by Gary Vaynerchuk. And Gary Vaynerchuk, I don't know if you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is. He was one of the early like social media like kings. You know, he really was like one of the guys who started pioneering early social media stuff on Facebook and Twitter. And one of his things is like he said one of the most important things in business that people don't think about is being fast. And he said, like, if someone emails me and I email them right back, they feel important. They feel like it is something that this guy is important to me. I'm taking the time. I'm getting right back to him. If you take a week, if you take 2-3 days,
Exactly.
if you take it, and when I was starting this podcast, I had people advise me. I still have people advise me, oh man, you need to slow down. You're doing them too fast. And so when I talk to people about coming on, and I don't have huge numbers, not yet, but I said, in 2 months, I've run this podcast now for 3 months. I've been going for 3 months, and I have 74 episodes up in 3 months.
Wow,
Like,
it's very cool.
right?
Yeah,
Right? And I mean, because
I totally agree.
I hustle, and it's about speed, and it's the importance of getting things out and
Exactly,
getting things
but
done.
you know, it's a lot about determination. How much you want something. You know,
Yep.
I totally agree with you because, I mean, I don't know if you know the saying, but nearly we have a saying something, the train comes one time. When this train comes, you have to take it. Otherwise,
Yep,
you're going to lose this train. So, and it's the same with the opportunities. I don't know if you get some emails and stuff, you know, you want to do this, say, you know what, I'm going to answer later or something. You don't know if they have, for example, a timeline.
Yeah, right?
You don't know. So you when you say something, just answer. You know, I mean that's also I do like this because you never know who you have in the other phone or in the other email. So you just they look for you. You are interested into it. That's cool. Answer right back.
Well, I love that advice when you see the train jump. You know, take it. There was a great
it's the same we have in Italy. Yeah.
It's brilliant, man. There was a story that I remember when I was a kid. And it was like a Christian story, but it was still it was more not about that. It was about like paying attention to the ideas. And there was this story about this guy was in this house, and the flood starts flooding, right?
Yeah.
And so they climb up on the roof because the waters are coming up. And the guy's like, God, save me.
Yeah.
Save me, God. And a person comes by with a boat. Hey, you want to get in the boat? And the guy's like, no. I'm trusting God. And he's like,
Exactly, but you know what? I realize also that I believe in God right now. Before now I started to believe in this, but people recommend to God, saying like, "God save me," but I think
you got to do the work, man.
Exactly. I mean, He can also help you, but you gotta do your thing.
You gotta do your thing, man.
Exactly. I mean, if you want to get out of the water, I mean, you have to start to use your brain and find some ways to get out.
Right.
God is not going to come and take you from the water like this. So, but I probably think that maybe God give you the opportunities to get.
I like that. There was a great quote that I saw. I don't remember who said it, but it kind of went like this, and it was like, pray like it's up to God. Have faith like it's up to God. Hope like it's up to God. Yeah. Work like it's up to you.
Exactly. Of course, God will give you the best possibilities.
Hope so.
to do what you want. Because, for example,
Yep.
some people I see, for example, in my friends, when something bad happened. When something bad happened to you, people say, God is not great because, why he do this to me? But what people
Yeah.
don't understand, and I think, God make the best for you. So if maybe, I don't know, you are dating somebody or you are looking for, I don't know, a guitar concert or something like this, and you don't get this, you don't
Yeah.
have to be upset or disappointed, because maybe something better is waiting for you.
100%.
That's how I think today.
Sometimes things will fall apart and then they fall together. You know what I mean? Like everything will go wrong, but that thing going wrong makes it so something good happens. You know?
But also, for example, I see that some people are grateful to God when they are living great, they are having money, or they are having a good situation around. Like, thanks God. That's what they do. And when they have bad situations, they are not thankful, they are not grateful. That's the wrong part. That's what I think.
You
because
still need to be grateful.
You have to be
you
grateful.
Still need to be grateful.
Exactly,
Yeah, man.
because the things happen for something. If you get a no, it's maybe because maybe you need some time for reach that level.
Yeah.
You have to wait some time.
And the thing is like every bad thing in my life has led to something good.
You see,
and I firmly believe, like, so many times when stuff was just like, when I felt like I was pushing and trying to have some door open, and I'm pushing as hard as I can, and it just wasn't opening, and then I step back and I go, all right, man, universe, whatever you're called, show me what I'm supposed to be doing right now, and then boom, it all changes, And so sometimes
I can tell you a story that happened recently. For example,
I'd love to hear it, man.
It happened for the Rolling Stone event in Brazil. What happened is that, for example, I was not vaccinated. Okay, so they say, you want to play on that show? I said I would love to this. It would be a honor because play for Rolling Stone is something huge.
It's huge, man.
So
it's huge.
So what happened is I say, look, I don't think I can make it. I'm sorry, stuff like this, and something strange happened. Something that I realized 2 weeks after I realized thinking about it. Happened that I use YouTube. I've told you that I look videos on YouTube, and Slash right now is, not for technical stuff, just for the music. It's one of my inspiration. So I watch a lot of Slash videos.
Yeah.
You know that, for example, in the top of your YouTube, there is the video you see the most, right?
Yeah. The recommended videos.
Exactly, recommended videos. I see, and usually this video lasts 1 day or something, not too much.
Yeah.
What happened is I see a video in my top of YouTube, Slash playing, of course, and I don't look. So like, you know what? I'm not interested in look this video. I want to see, I don't know, a video of live playing Slider by Velvet Revolver or stuff. Okay, I don't watch it. The second day, still that video on the top. I'm not gonna watch it. Third day, still that video on the top. Video that I never seen. I'm not gonna watch it, even today. Fourth day, I said, you know what? I'm excited to see this video here. Let's check it out. And you don't have idea. That video was Slash playing a Rolling Stone event.
There you go, man.
You see? You see? And I watched that video and I said, you know what? I'm going to Brazil to play for Rolling Stone. So you see, it's some signals that I realized 2 weeks later, watching back that video, because on that day actually came out the flyer saying, Davide Lo Surdo playing for Rolling Stone, music can run, fastest guitars of all time. And I saw the logo of Rolling Stone. And I said, wait a minute. I opened that video again, and I saw Slash feat Miles Kennedy, Katy Perry stuff, Rolling Stone, a flyer. So I said, okay, so maybe this was a signal. It's crazy. You just have to believe, and things will happen.
I've had the best things in my life have happened when I just let go and kind of go with the flow. I remember there was once that I was I was doing some acting, and I had taken a break from acting, and I was my wife had just had our daughter.
Okay.
And someone had called me about this casting for this huge. It was my friend had called me about this
Okay.
casting for this huge movie, right? And it was like they were talking about us, tons of money. We really want you to go. We want you to come. You know, you're going to be the next big action star. And I was like,
That's cool.
This is huge, man. And so I got there, and I was just ready to go. And my wife, it was just after our daughter was born, and I had some health challenges. I'd been sick. And so I was recovering, but I still wasn't back yet. And so I hadn't been working, and my wife was just getting back to work.
Okay.
And so we were tight on money. We were really tight. So to cover the flight and stuff, I borrowed some money from my wife's mom. We borrowed some money, got everything. I go to the airport, and I just get sick. I got so sick.
Okay.
I got like violently ill. I'm sweating. I'm just like, man, I can't go, because they wanted me to fly to another country to do this audition. And I went back to the customs. I was like, I'm really sick. I can't fly right now. I need to go back home. I need to go back to bed. I got home, and I called my friend who was acting as my manager for that. I said, I can't do this. I'm really, really sick.
Yeah.
You know, I can't get onto a plane right now. And they're like, you're going to miss out on this opportunity. And the people called. They're like, where is this guy? Why is he not here? We're going to, you know, give you. And they were really aggressive. They were like, we're going to sue you. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm sick. You know, I can't help it.
It's not your fault.
And then I got home, and I was just like, I was devastated. I was like, I just lost the biggest opportunity of my life. This career opportunity. This is going to be the life changer. And I lost it. My friend sent other actors, and like a bunch of people went.
Okay.
Found out a couple months later, it was all fake. It was a fake movie. These people were scamming people, and if you look up about it, it's called The Master. And if you look, it's a big deal. It was a big thing in Hollywood. They did this scam for like 5 or 6 years and scammed huge agencies. Big groups got scammed by this group in Asia.
You see, you got protected. You see. I mean, I've told you, nothing happened like this. Everything happened for something. I mean, like I've told you, if you look on YouTube, how it's possible to look at video of Slash play Rolling Stone. I mean, you see, those are signals that thing is for you. Maybe you got sick because that thing was not for you because it was fake.
Exactly.
So you see what I mean? I mean, things happen for something. Nothing happened for random. There's always an explication.
I don't believe in random. There's a great word. There's a great word for that. There's a couple great words. Synchronicity was coined by Carl Jung, the German psychologist, and the idea that like the universe works by kind of this flow. Everything flows together.
And flows for your goodness. For your goodness.
Exactly. If you can kind of surrender to it. But that's the catch. That's the catch 22. You have to be willing to kind of go with the flow and work your ass off at the same time. You know what I mean? And so there's this side where you're putting in the work, and then this side where you're just like,
I mean,
see what happens.
I can tell you also, you know, I think also when some bad stuff happen, is for put you improve. For example, I can tell you, I was 14 or 15 years old. Jason Becker actually shared my video.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I put, you know, since Jason actually shared my video, I started putting more videos in my page, in my, you know, my Facebook and stuff. And I was young. I was not mature for the age I was having. I was very, very immature for the age I was having. So what happened is, you know, I started, you know, uploading these videos, sharing on Facebook groups, like, hey, what do you think about my video? Please, I would like to know more, you know, stuff for improve, you know. I'm not like that, like, hey, like my stuff or stuff. I was something like, please give me advices how to improve, what you think. And I can tell you that for 2 years, something like this, people attacked me so bad. 500 comments. I mean, I'm sorry if I say these words, but you are shit, or you are the worst thing of guitar. You are this, and of course, I got sad about it, because I was young.
Yeah.
But if I give up, I will not be
Yeah.
where I am today, because now the only one difference. I mean, I hope you can see I am a humble guy. Yeah, I mean, I am a humble guy. But what I say about it is, there was a proof. I mean, something to see if I really love guitar or not, because I didn't give up, and now the fastest guitarist of all time. You see, if I gave up in that time, maybe I would have lose all these experiences, all this. This trips, of playing in India, stuff like this. I will have lose everything. But I didn't give up.
I think one of the things that you're hitting on too is like, you ever see The Lord of the Rings?
What I'm sorry?
The Lord of the Rings?
The Lord of the Rings? I think,
yeah, the movie.
I think, I saw that.
Movie number 2, The Two Towers. There's this big fight scene. And they're fighting off the orcs, right? And it's just this horrible, horrible time where there's all of these dark forces are about ready to overthrow them, and everyone's gonna die.
Okay.
And then at that moment, right at the top of the hill, you see the good guys emerge. I feel so often that before people make it, there's this time period where there is almost like these challenges that you have to weather. You have to go through them. And it might be, I don't know why it happens in life, but it happens for so many people. And even some people, they get success easy, and then they go through it.
You have to deserve that. I mean, for example, the bad comments I've told you, it's nothing compared to the anxiety. For example, I can tell you that when I went on tour, because, for example, I played a lot of countries. I played a lot of countries. I played in India. I played in Mexico. I played in Brazil. I played in the States. I played in Hollywood, the big parts of Europe. And I have, Bolivia, Bangladesh, India again. I have a lot of, stuff going on. But I can tell you that I suffered huge anxiety, psycho problems, difficulties to recognize myself by the big anxiety that I was having. And for me, going on tour was hell. I remember that I got confusion in my mind. I didn't remember what I was, for a lot of anxiety, and I never gave up. I always went on tour. I remember one time I was in the airport flying to, I think, Thailand or something. Then I had problems going there. And an ex-teacher of mine says, Davide, you are living the dream. You are so lucky and stuff. And I said, no, I am a tortured person. This life is hell. So you can understand how much sick and bad and suffered. I mean, I had a lot of sufferance playing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember in India, I suffered a lot going there of anxiety. I don't know. I mean, this is my bag. You see, my bag was full of pills of stuff for anxiety. But you know what? I suffered a lot, but I never gave up. And now I can happily tell you that my trip to Brazil has been the first trip of my life with no anxiety. I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? But if I probably...
How did you get beyond the anxiety? How did you do it?
I get out because I fixed problems. I fixed problems because, for example, I can tell you, I went to psychiatrists, a lot of them, and they always give me pills. But you know what I've said? I said the pills don't heal you. You don't get better with pills. You have to analyze what gives you anxiety. What? So, wife problems, work problems, money problems, relationships problems. You have to analyze what is something that when you have in mind, you get anxiety. My anxiety, was probably, I don't know, some childhood traumas and stuff like this, or I don't know, because my fear to go on tour was to leave my comfort zone, so my area
Yep.
where I live.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I realized with problems, I fixed it, and a very important thing that I understood is how you set your mind, the mindset. Because before
Yeah.
to go on tour, I was actually like, oh, this is shit. I don't want to go on tour because this is bad, because I will feel sick, I will feel bad with anxiety, stuff like this. And all bad energy I was attracting to myself, you know. And
Yeah.
then I feel bad on tour. This time for Brazil, I changed my mindset. I
Yeah.
said, I don't have anxiety, I feel excited, you know? You see, it's like almost the same thing, but in two different ways. I feel
Yeah.
excited to go on tour. No, I have anxiety to go on tour. So, and I said to myself, think how much you will be happy when you come back and play for Rolling Stone. Think, I mean, happy, and I visualize myself playing on stage with a white aura.
That's awesome.
I visualize myself with a white aura playing on stage in airport. And I can tell you, I was in Brazil, I was the most relaxed person ever. I mean, I remember to the Rolling Stone stuff, I said, you know, this is my first trip that I don't have anxiety. I mean, I even bring it pills with me. Nothing. So you see, it's all your mindset and how you, and of course to help the other people. Because if you help the other people, I think you attract positivity to your life.
Yeah.
So
I think that you're spot on. I dealt with anxiety a lot early in my life, and I still do. I think a lot. This never stops.
stop thinking, brother. That's the fault, you know.
Right. I was lucky that my mom is a therapist. Not a
Therapist.
psychologist, but she's a therapist. She does counseling therapist, and she came from the school of cognitive behavioral psychology. And
Cool.
what I like about that, and the idea that she always would put forward was like, so I have anxiety. What can I do? You're right. And like you said, like, what's causing me anxiety? I don't have enough money. Well, let's find solutions for that.
Exactly.
That's one of the things I'm always telling my daughter. Like, Daddy, I'm scared. Why are you scared? And what can we do to fix it?
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah.
What can we do to fix it? Like, don't tell me you're scared. Tell me what's the problem, and let's find a solution. Because just being scared doesn't fix anything.
Exactly.
It doesn't have. I'm scared of
just
this
limit
teddy
your
bear.
life. Exactly. Just
Yeah,
limit
then
your
let's
life.
get rid of that teddy bear. Put it out. I'm scared of this. Well, then we change that. And boom, it limits. It's exactly. Your fears are your biggest limitation. Hands down.
I think also, I mean, I always say something. The brain is your biggest enemy. The brain is your biggest enemy, because today I can be in my computer, oh, I'm happy, stuff like this, and then my mind, oh, but this, and said, you see, so the mind is your biggest enemy. So, and you have to know how to control your mind.
Yep.
That's, I mean, for example, I was a super sick person. I mean, for example, I canceled United States tour for anxiety years ago. And so I know how it feels. I know how I feel, because my anxiety was kind of different than normal, because my anxiety was mind confusion. So I don't know how to, I don't know.
I understand
I don't know
completely.
when-
I had the same.
Yeah.
I would get into like a type of panic. There was once I was supposed to drive my car across the U.S. and I started getting a panic attack.
Yeah.
And the anxiety, and then I'm driving, and suddenly I was like, I don't know where I'm at. And I just started getting this, like, I was like, where am I? What am I doing? Like, and it was very much like an all-encompassing type of a thing. And then I had to call my dad, and my dad helped me drive. You know, one of the things that changed everything for me?
I did the same. Call my family, but you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't. You know what? thinking about it today, I think it's not a good idea because you need to be able to fix your problems by your own.
Yeah.
Not because I am bad, I don't want the help. No. I mean, I like to receive help, and I like to help the people that need. So, for example, I like to help the people that are out of my family. If a friend of mine had, I don't know, girl's problem, and I can help, I help. If somebody, you know, is asking for money on the street, maybe I cannot give a million, but I can give something, So
Yeah.
I am a guy who likes to give help and receive help. But
Yeah.
when you feel bad, you have to do on your own. Because I tell you this, and then I leave you to talk. In my past tours, in the airport departure,
Yeah.
always had fun with somebody.
Yeah.
When you have the help of somebody, you are not independent. This
Yeah.
time for Brazil, I said, you know what? I threw the phone. I don't want anyone because I have to do it by myself. And you know what? I started
That's
to listen music. I put the plane mode. Nobody called. I talk a little bit of fun, of course, but
Yeah.
I change it as before, and I'm totally happy that today I can finally say I am grateful
Yeah.
and happy without anxiety.
Do you remember the movie Dumbo, the Disney movie about the elephant?
Dumbo, yeah, of course, of
Yeah.
course,
He had that feather
yeah,
that he held. The feather didn't do anything. The feather helped him believe in himself. What
Yeah.
helped Dumbo fly was his own self-confidence.
exactly.
But that feather was only there to help him start believing in himself. And I think that that's something that we have to, with my daughter, every time she says something, Daddy, do you think I can do this? I try to say, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
You can't do everything. Do
Whatever
everything
you want to do, try it. Try it. If you fail, it's okay.
But I think also say if you will. I don't know. I think this is what I want to do. I will do it. No matter what, I will do it. So because, for example, if you think, I mean, before people were, I mean, this is a crazy thing because people were saying, "Well, you are so fast," and my friends said, "Wow, imagine if you can be the fastest guitarist of the history, bro. Imagine." Because
Yeah.
if you think for a moment, fastest guitarist of the history is something like Jesus, it's hard to get.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? For you, it's impossible. For me, not. For me,
Yeah.
it's not impossible. And look right now, I get it. So nothing is impossible. You just have to be great. If you want to get a millionaire, maybe you have to take some financial courses and know how to invest. If you want to do the musician, maybe you have to figure out how to do it. But everything is possible. Everything. There is. I mean, the only impossible thing is not die.
Yeah.
But I also think, and people
But
explain me.
I think someday they're going to figure that out too, man.
But I think, I mean, a lot of people told me this, that the death doesn't exist.
Mm.
You
I
die
believe that.
physically, but your soul keep living. So if a member of your family die, he's not dead.
Yeah.
He's not only with you right now physically, but he is. And I have had some experiences that, I felt the flavor of a dear one. I felt like I was in my house, alone, and I felt the flavor of my uncle. And it was, it's me or what? And I checked all the stuff, and no flavor of him was in the house. Nothing. So I go to, so
I'm a
I
believer.
think, and I hope, was my uncle. And I look it online, and some people say that the flavor of a dear person means that he's there. He's there. I don't know. Maybe for later understand that he's there.
Yeah. brother, I'm a believer. You're talking to someone who is definitely a believer there. But I want to ask you this question real quick.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time and give yourself advice in the past, what advice would you give yourself?
The same. I will not change anything because I mean, I don't like to be a victim. Let's say like this, but for childhood problems, anxiety problems, I had really difficult times. And if I should give the advices to my younger self, I'll say, you know what, David, do the same. Because it's true. Because I had fears to go on tour, and I went on tour, fight against my fear. People tell me you are bad on guitar. I didn't give nothing about what they said, and I keep it going. So I would say, David, do the same what you have done in the past. I will not change one thing.
That's awesome. I think that it's so important to. I dealt with anxiety for a long time too, and do you know what changed it? When I almost died, I got really sick. And then after that, I almost lost most of my fear. Because what's the thing that we are so afraid of? It's like
is that death. Yeah.
And then when you sit there and go look at it, you're like, well, okay. Let's go live now. Let's go live now. Because we spend so much time caught up in those fears that we don't live.
Yeah,
get out and
exactly.
And
the fears don't allow you to do that. Become the
fastest guitarist player in history. Become the greatest scientist. Become the best writer. Become whatever it is that you want to do.
You can. Of course, for me to become the fastest guitarist of all time was easier because the talent allowed me this.
Yeah.
So the guitar is my thing. So, but you can do everything you want because people say, you want a Ferrari, you want a Lamborghini. That's impossible. That's a dream. People have a kind of meaning of dream. Like something you cannot reach, and only some people can reach, you not. If you go to your wife and say, you know what, tomorrow I want to start to have a Lamborghini or something, she will say, you know what, come on, take your feet in the planet. Don't say fantasies. Because all the society today is like this, but it's not like this. Because of course you cannot expect tomorrow you wake up and you have 3 Lamborghinis, 3 mansions. You cannot expect because this doesn't exist. But you can work for it, and if you work for it, I don't know, like I've told you, billionaire, millionaire, take courses of financial stuff. Start to attend billionaires, do the secrets stuff, and you will see, maybe not in 1 year, maybe not in 5 years, but in 10 years you will get the 3 Lamborghinis you want.
Yeah, I believe it, man.
That's how I think. And you see, this mindset is helping me to do more and more and more, because nothing is impossible. And if something doesn't happen now, it's because maybe I'm not ready for it. But maybe in 2 months I'm ready. Maybe 1 year I'm ready. That's how I think.
Well, brother, I believe that too. I have enjoyed this conversation, my friend.
A lot, me too. It's not only about music; it's about stuff. So
about
it's
life.
Yeah, it's. I think it's one of the best interviews I've done because it talks about life and stuff. So it's beautiful. Thank you for contacting me and doing this. It was really cool.
Yeah, man.